A short quote from Psychology Today. It says this. It says, as we approach Thanksgiving, we are starting a 5-week period called the holidays, where we're supposed to look forward to the holidays and hope that they will be a time of happiness, friendliness, fellowship, and harmony, yet often our anticipation and excitement turns into feelings of depression, commonly called holiday blues. Symptoms can include headaches, insomnia, uneasiness, anxiety, sadness, intestinal problems, and unnecessary conflict with family and friends. It's called the holiday blues. And another article from the Mental Health America, which is the largest and oldest nonprofit organization dedicated to mental health and mental illness. They posted this article on the web, and it's called Ranking of America's Mental Health, an Analysis of Depression Across the States. And this little paragraph says this: depression is a chronic illness that exacts a significant toll on America's health and productivity. It affects more than 21 million American children and adults annually. Our population is 300 million. That's bordering on 8–9% of our population. It is the leading cause of disability in the United States for ages 15 to 44. Lost productive time among the U.S. workers due to depression is estimated to be in excess of $31 billion a year. Depression frequently co-occurs with a variety of medical illnesses such as heart disease, cancer, chronic pain, and is associated with the poor health status and prognosis. It also is the principal cause of 30,000 suicides in the United States each year. In 2004, suicide was the 11th leading cause of death in the United States, third among individuals. Now, interestingly enough, when they do that statistic, Hawaii, the Sunshine State, amen? It's a great place to live. It's a great place to live. I know you're not going to believe this, but I've been here 24 years, and I can't get rid of the accent, amen? But it's a great place to live, but we're ranked number 2 for depression in the United States. We're ranked in the top 10, we're number 10 in suicides in the United States, per capita. So it's not just being in a happy place, it's not being in a bright place, it's a state of mind. In 2007, the most prescribed drug in America was antidepressants. Now today that was passed, sadly, by Vicodin, which is a painkiller, or its generic substitute. And let me tell you something, people are not hooked on Vicodin because they're happy, amen? They're hooked on that because they're not happy. It kind of dulls pain and makes everything even out. It's symptomatic or problematic of the state of many people in the United States. But researchers are finding out that many of these numbers and prescriptions are not from psychologists or psychiatrists who are clinically treating the mental and illness of depression, but rather many general practitioner doctors are prescribing these medications to people who are simply unhappy. There's a quote here from CNN, an article I was reading. It says this: Dr. Ronald Dworkin tells the story of a woman who didn't like the way her husband was handling the family finances. It's not my wife, this is an unbiased story, amen? She wanted to start keeping the books herself, but didn't want to insult her husband. The doctor suggested that she try an antidepressant to make her feel better. She got the antidepressant. She did feel better, said Dr. Dworkin of Maryland, a Maryland anesthesiologist and senior fellow at Washington's Hudson Institute, who told the story in his book, Artificial Unhappiness, The Dark Side of the New Happy Class. But in the meantime, Dworkin said, the woman's husband led the family into financial ruin. Doctors are now medicating unhappiness, and that's where those hyperinflation of numbers are. They're medicating unhappiness. Said Dworkin, too many people take drugs when they really need to be making changes in their lives. And Dworkin said the proof is in the statistics of who's giving out the drugs and how much they're giving out. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. And here we are on Christmas Eve. And during one of the most difficult times, we have faced as a nation in decades. Right now, we're wrapping up 2 wars. We have the highest unemployment rates since post-World War II, financially on the brink of disaster with a $15 trillion national debt. Let me tell you what $15 trillion is. If you made $1,000 a day since the day Jesus was born to today, you wouldn't have $1 trillion. I think that's $1 million. You can check that statistic. But we're in this major debt, and needless to say, there are many unhappy people who are depressed and have despair and have no hope during this season. Yet the answer is right in front of them the whole time, and that is the meaning and the purpose of Christmas. Amen? Do you know that every day is a celebration of Christmas? Amen? We take one day out and we officially recognize it, and thank God we do that. The fact of the matter is Jesus probably wasn't born on December 25th. The shepherds are no longer in the field past October, and it's probably something that goes back to a Roman holiday, but I don't care where it goes back. Amen? If our government and the world wants to take a day to celebrate the birth of Jesus, I'm all for it. But it's remembering what that birth was for. It's remembering what that day is for, not losing sight, because this is the key to the holiday blues, to depression, and to general unhappiness in life. We are called to have hope. The meaning and purpose of Christmas is about hope. Because really, this world has not changed too much, really, since the birth of Jesus Christ. 2,000 years ago, they had war. They had financial woes. The Jews were occupied by Rome. Rome occupied most everybody. They had more slaves. They had about 2 to 3 million slaves in Rome. There was oppression. There was forced labor. There was disease. There was famine. There was all sorts of things. It hasn't changed much today. Yes, we live in a free democratic society, and we can do all sorts of things and freedoms, but we still face these things. The stresses of life, of family, of paying the bills, of what's going to happen to our country, of wars, of diseases, of famine, all sorts of things on our plate. It hasn't changed much. And the message that God gave hasn't changed at all. For unto us a child was born. Unto us. God knows all the things that we deal with in life. He's very intimately acquainted with all the things we're going through. And God has not left us alone or ignored us, but God has come to us. We are told by the prophet Isaiah, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Amen? Man, if I had to go to a counselor and I had to see somebody and I asked somebody, how is this guy? I got to go in and see the company psychiatrist, or I got to go in and see the counselor. I got to go in and see Pastor Tom. How's this guy? Well, he's a little crazy, amen? He gets kind of tense at times, you know. And now I'm worried, what am I going to do? What am I going to... I remember being in the Marine Corps, and I was under investigation, not because I was a bad guy, amen, but I was going on embassy duty, and I had to get top secret clearance, and I had to go before the investigator, and I was saying, how is this guy? And they're like, oh, this guy not a good guy. He's going to ask you all sorts of things. And the guy grilled me for hours, and after I swore to him, I never smoked dope, I never looked at drugs, I never did anything in my life. He put his pen down, he put his glasses down, he said, are you telling me you're from New York and you never did drugs? Now I was too young and too naive to be able to answer. That's stereotyping, amen? So I just fessed up and I said, yes, I did. But he wasn't wonderful, amen? He wasn't a mighty man. He wasn't a Prince of Peace, amen? But God has come to us in the form of man, and he is wonderful. He's a counselor. He's the Prince of Peace, the mighty God. That's who I want to go to counsel, amen? When I'm unhappy, When I'm dealing with stuff, that's where I want to